Welcome back. Let's start with another episode of Democratic Cringe.
Oh no!
It's a cultural divide. I'ma get it on the floor.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
They get on it like that.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck. Bust that on a beat, bro, deep boat in the rap. He a freak though, man down, call like Ember Lambs. Tell him breathe, let them boys to the cross, they walk around like thieves. What's up with these?
Not long ago, Senate leader Schumer, after promising to fight Trump's unprecedented powers on the budget, came to Trump without a fight or gaining any concession. That is well known. A detail that is less known is the extraordinary power this caving gave to Trump to redirect funds previously approved by Congress for other uses, which is called the appropriation process. And guess what? Orban also got that kind of power when he took over Hungary. Because that continuing resolution gave Trump such power, it's not surprising that the apportionment trackers webpage, which gives transparency to the use of funds so appropriated by Congress, has been down for a while. So the use of the funds according to those appropriations that now Trump can change at will. Do you see the connection now? So first, Schumer gives him the power to ignore those appropriations, and now to make sure there is no outrage, there is no way of tracking those alterations, those changes in the use of funds, because the web page for apportionments has been supposedly temporarily closed. This adds to the lack of transparency generated by those cuts to the IT staffs in government agencies, like in the case of the Social Security, where the page keeps crashing and the number of agencies to which users can go keeps shrinking. It's unacceptable that the same party that cried that Trump was going to be a dictator in 2024 and then give him the powers only quasi-dictators have in countries like Hungary, but yet Trump, the Democratic Party, has not opened their mouth to repudiate Schumer's actions, not in the way it deserves, considering these extraordinary powers granted to Donald Trump. So this is the kind of weakness that made the Democratic Party so unreliable. A reactive party with no initiative that, because it's reactive, will always arrive late to everything and will not inspire inactors from voters to other countries the confidence that they will represent an alternative, the confidence that Democrats will represent an alternative in 2029 or even win in 2028, as we have seen in previous videos. Their complete absence of sense of a strategy is even moving them to throw immigrants under the bus, so giving MAGA reason to stay in politics. Their main problem is not the messaging as they try to portray it, but it's the product itself, it's policy. Not to mention that the message is terrible, but just consider their message in 2024 that Trump is not cool, which has been replaced in 2025 by the message Elon Musk is not cool, which reflects not only the stupidity of the message, but also the vacuum behind that message, because they don't have an alternative to offer. They only say that Trump is bad. But then why should I trust you? What if you give me another Biden in 2029? If you are Germany, if you are a voter, if you are whoever who is trying to say, well, if Trump will represent 4 bad years, but then we will see the light, well, to that question, Democrats are not giving any answer. FDR, my favorite standard, may not be the only one, yes. But Democrats right now need to offer at least 2 standards. The FDR JFK, with which I would be more comfortable, and the Bill Clinton will represent a somewhat different standard, in which government is much more limited. But I would be willing to embrace that standard if necessary, in order to create a sound narrative, because Democrats do need to create their own narratives, from the economy to China to Palestine to Israel to Ukraine, instead of merely reacting to the GOP MAGA's reactive on those issues, and then trying to look at the light version of the Republican extremists. The continuation of this reactive position may lead them to learn in 2028 that people won't vote for them even if they dislike Trump more, or that a third party, now a permanent, may become now not a sporadic spoiler, but a permanent one. And that either apathy or a third party has filled the gap left by their ineptitude. A terrible outcome if you consider that because of higher partisan loyalty among Republicans, that would affect Democrats more and would condemn them to be a permanent minority. And having said that, let me leave you with our newscast.
Good evening. This is Brian Thomas Simons, and these are the main headlines of this hour. Among other news:
1. New 266 executive decisions were released last Thursday in the Oval Office. Among them, A. To State Secretary Marco Rubio's request, and for the third time since the inauguration of President Trump's second term, a new executive order has been issued forbidding the use of the terms Little Marco or Lil Marco when referring to the state secretary in official documents. B. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem will not be called the Homeland Security's mascot or in any other way mocked in official documents just for her inclination to use costumes or make cosplay. C. Secretary of State Little Marco will receive 3 more medals and be congratulated for his birthday, whenever that day is. 2. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth creates a new intelligence unit in the Pentagon specialized in extracting intelligence through drunkenness. To the point, Secretary Hegseth declared, "I was always impressed by the use of sodium pentothal in the movies. So one day I was in Signal, I wondered, what if we used booze instead? So I decided we had to try and that I had to lead the experiment and polish it to the point it could produce intelligence we could rely on. That's my baby, and that's why I am personally leading the unit." The new unit, whose name has still not been disclosed, will be under the umbrella of the DIA. 3. DNC launches campaign, Alien is not cool. After the proven success of the 2024 campaign, Trump is not cool, DNC has launched the campaign, Alien is not cool. Chair Ken Martin declared adamantly, "Our strategists have concluded that that's all the American people need to know. That alien is not cool." When reporter Cleve R. Wootson Jr., who was fired 2 weeks ago from the Washington Post by Secretary Leavitt and then again a week ago from the Washington Afro-American, also by Secretary Leavitt, and now the host of his own YouTube channel, noticed that Musk's first name had been misspelled, that it was Elon, not Elian, Chair Martin declared that that's impossible. Our strategists are never wrong, before adding that Woodson's observation was an obvious result of his racism and misogyny. 4. After watching the theatrical release, the new chair Ken Martin ratified yesterday DNC's January 31 endorsement of Rachel Zegler's Snow White movie. Chair Martin declared that the movie represents all we are, the indefatigable struggle of cool kids to express themselves and show the world that they are cool. The indefatigable struggle of women to change the patriarchy incarnated in the evil queen. Well, you get the idea. The point is that this is just one more battle in our war against Trump's tyranny, but don't forget that we will not rest. We will win. We will win. 5. After President Trump hinted at the idea of a third run in 2028, Minority Leader Schumer, asked by reporters in the corridors of the Senate, declared that this is nothing new. President Trump had that idea already in 2017, but we will abide by President Trump's new interpretation of the Constitution. As Democrats, it's our duty. If President Trump says that the 22nd Amendment is invalid because of DEI, we might disagree, but we can't respond with anything resembling opposition. Voters may say that we are weak, but they will never be able to say that we are not gracious and civil in defeat, even proactively. That's why Americans must trust us. We will not rest. We will win. We will win. 6. After several posts in Substack criticizing President Trump's tariffs, economist Paul Krugman was declared an enemy alien, an anchor baby, and a DEI terrorist under the Enemy Aliens Act. As a consequence, he was deported to the infamous Salvadoran Sacó prison. This action comes after journalist David K. Johnston was sent to Guantanamo because of his unauthorized biography of President Trump, The Big Cheat. In noticeable distress, and to bring visibility to the arrest of her husband, Krugman's wife was seen trying to talk to DNC Chair Ken Martin, but an aide informed her that the DNC was very busy now endorsing Rachel Zegler's Snow White and invited the reporters present outside DNC's premises to give the movie a like in Disney+. 7. After the turmoil caused by President Trump's tariffs policies on Liberation Day, which have been put on pause for 90 days, the president has good news for American workers. 90% of you will live with higher taxes and no safety network, but you will be able to enjoy the good life of manufacturing workers vicariously. If you are in services, it will be like living the lives of your favorite reality show stars. But it will not end up there, because you will have the reruns. No new episodes. Because those manufacturing workers will be replaced by robots, but it will be great television. 8. Pete Hegseth's resume leaked to the press by Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee after it was revealed he was the first to be fired in The Apprentice, White House edition. Approached by reporters, Secretary Hegseth declared that Mike is obviously a sore loser. And no. He is defaming me when he insinuates I was dishonorably discharged from the army for being drunk. I myself crossed it out. Can't you see it? What matters is that I am still in competition and he is not. 9. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, approached by reporters about photographs included in her biography leaked by Ambassador Mike Huckabee, declared that I have already told Ambassador Huckabee that his attacks should be directed to Tulsi Gabbard, that it's her who is in The Apprentice White House edition, not me, but it's useless. And I should remind Ambassador Huckabee that now I have a President Trump's executive decision saying he can't keep calling me the Homeland Security's mascot. Then, when asked about the chronological impossibility of her appearances with President Reagan and at the Yalta Conference, that it's a simple copy and paste made by a basic image editor, she declared that President Trump is preparing another executive decision forbidding any mention of that issue too. 10. Eugene Howard Shelton, a man who broke naked into a home in Maricopa County, Arizona, under the excuse of being chased by an alligator, will be compensated with $100,000 after testifying in court that he, at the moment of the break-in, held the religious conviction that he was being chased by the reptile. If you have a deeply held patriotic or religious belief, that is enough, according to Arizonan law, to break into any premises. That's the doctrine behind the January 6th break-in in Congress. So here the judge is just applying our state laws and the Constitution, declared Shelton's lawyer as both abandoned the court's offices. On the other hand, the children who tried to prevent Shelton's break-in will be referred to the Arizona Juvenile Corrections for putting Shelton at risk of being attacked by the alligator that was chasing him according to his deeply held religious beliefs.
This has been the news of this hour. Sponsored by Church of the Holy Redeemer's Power in the Spirit. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior? Did you vote for Trump in 2016 and then in 2020? This is the right church for you. If so, Church of the Holy Redeemer's Power in the Spirit is the only Christian church that can promise you in the Lord to have 72 virgins in heaven for only a donation of $50 a month. You will have access to those 72 virgins in heaven. For an additional $25, you will be allowed to replace 10 of them, and for $100, Heaven Premium, you will be allowed to choose them for yourself. Guaranteed, if you're not satisfied with those 72 virgins after you die, full refund of your money. We accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover.